Hi, this is Dan Woodard of the Woodard Law Firm in Knoxville, Tennessee. Today I'm talking about the first of 3 DUI investigation phases. DUI investigations consist of 3 phases. The first phase is the vehicle in motion phase. That's when a driver is on the road operating a vehicle. An officer observes what are known as driving cues. Officers are trained that there are 24 different driving cues to indicate the possibility of an impaired driver. Because driving is a divided attention task, anybody driving a car is required to maintain speed, maintain a lane, maintain lookout for other traffic, signal, operate the steering wheel, the gas, the brake, the clutch. And so people under the influence of alcohol to a level that would impair them are not able to effectively divide their attention. And so that's evident to an officer from the outside, really to anybody from the outside following that vehicle when they do things like weaving in their lane or crossing a fog line or a center line, varying their speed for no apparent reason, signaling for one direction and then maybe going in a different direction, driving under the speed limit. And so there's a whole laundry list. It's actually 24 different driving cues that officers in their field sobriety training are trained to look for when they see drivers on the road. Why that's important is because if you're stopped for one of those things, the officer immediately launches into an investigation because he already suspects, based on that driving cue, that you're an impaired driver. And what's helpful for a DUI defense attorney is that if you're stopped for any other reason, something that's not on that list, the officer should not immediately suspect you of being impaired behind the wheel. Most common, that is speeding. If you're pulled over for speeding, that's not one of the things that an officer is trained to look for. And so in a cross-examination, I'm going to ask the officer that specifically that you're not trained to look for speeding. And so when you pull someone over for speeding, you should not immediately expect to find an impaired driver. The same thing for any equipment or registration violations. When they pull you over for anything other than something that's on that list, my argument is going to be there was nothing that should have given you a suspicion of DUI. Why did you then get the driver out, get my client out, and launch into an investigation involving what they had had for dinner, what they'd had to drink, where they were coming from, where they were going, things like that. So that first phase, the vehicle in motion, ends when the vehicle is pulled over and the driver approaches the window, which leads us into the second phase, which we'll talk about next time, which is the personal contact phase. Thanks for watching.